road trip. So me, the 430 and Mrs. E, along with some friends, have driven down into Europe with the end goal being here in Italy. Simon and the big Lamborghini are doing exactly the same thing, and we'll meet up at Sant'Agata Bolognese at the Lamborghini factory, where the Murcielago's been invited to celebrate nearing 300,000 miles with some VIP treatment courtesy of Lamborghini. So, supercars, mountain passes, a brush with the law, and a VIP trip around Lamborghini. Sound good? Welcome to Drivers Keepers. So we arrived in Hull to board the ferry to Rotterdam. Okay, there's a little bit of a ramp here. Something we've never done before, loading the Ferrari onto a ferry. No problem. Sleeping on a boat, all new experiences. Slightly bigger looking ramp here. But I think we're going to be okay. Easy peasy. So all aboard, and after drinks at the bar and dinner, we retired to our cabin because it was an early start in the morning for our arrival at Rotterdam. So folks, you join us at the end of day 2. Ferry docked this morning in Rotterdam, early doors. We got off okay, no problems, and then we had a long motorway schlep down through Holland, Belgium, and now we've dropped into northeast France to a little place called Sedan, and we are staying in this amazing chateau castle style place this evening, and then tomorrow we're off to Durbach in Germany. So the car was pretty amazing this morning, should I say, or today on the drive. In fact, all 3 cars have behaved really, really well. We've had a lovely drive. Quite a lot of it was motorway, so not really a lot to show you. Nice little bit of countryside on this last half an hour or so, but tomorrow hopefully will be a bit more scenic and we'll get some filming done. Good afternoon. So day 4. Yesterday we drove down from Sedan to Durbach in Germany, which is a beautiful little place, as you will have seen from the footage of us arriving in the village yesterday. And now we're going to go up to some medieval castle where we can drink some German wine. Only a little bit though, because I'm driving. So it turned out that the road up to the castle was tortuous, pretty steep, and pretty narrow. And only got steeper and narrower the higher we went. But eventually we arrived at the top of the hill, upset a few locals, and eventually found somewhere to park. The views were incredible, and the wine wasn't bad either. Being idiots, on the way back down, we decided to have a rev competition. The next day, we had a beautiful drive through all kinds of countryside and all kinds of weather to arrive on the shores of Lake Constance in Germany. In the beautiful medieval town of Oberlingen. Just after we arrived in the car park, a Dutch car club turned up with some really friendly folks and some fascinating cars. They were on their way to Italy to go and see the start of the Mille Miglia. The next day we had a great drive through the Black Forest and went full German with a stop at the Rothaus Brewery to look at lederhosen, drink a little bit of beer and eat pretzels. Then it was onwards to Italy, our next hotel in Prato di Stelvio, through Switzerland via the Fluela Pass, all 7,822 feet of it. Right guys, shall we have a quick update? We left Oberlingen in Germany a few days ago and we had an amazing drive down through Germany, Switzerland, over the Fluela Pass, into Italy, and now here we are near the foot of the Stelvio Pass. We haven't been able to do the Stelvio yet because it appears to be closed, which is a little bit annoying, but we've found some other great drives and we've done quite a few other mountain passes, which I'm sure you've already seen on some of the video footage that I've recorded. Any issues with the car? No, all three cars seem to be performing really, really well. I don't want to jinx anything. The 430 is doing brilliantly. The only thing I can report is a very soggy footwell, which is a little bit annoying. I'll show you what's going on. So the mat is out because it's wet, and I'm not quite sure if the culprit is this seal, which seems to have stopped fitting properly. It should be absolutely flush there and isn't, and however many times I bang it back in place it pops out again. I've also got an issue here. When the window shuts, there's a tiny little hole, but basically the footwell has been very wet. We've just had a very, very wet drive and it seems to be still dry. So fingers crossed that I've somehow nailed the problem, or anyway, it's something that we'll probably need to look at when we get back. But on the whole, all's well. Just had a message from Simon. He is boarding the ferry in Hull in the Lambo and heading down to Italy, where we'll meet up with him shortly. So that's it for now. I'm going to go and dry my footwell mat and I'll see you soon. The next day we went the very, very long way round to go and get pizza for lunch via Austria and Switzerland, various tunnels and numerous mountain passes. No surprises, the 430 was peerless, doing a pretty good job of keeping up with the 720S and sounding incredible with way more pops and bangs than usual, I'm guessing due to the altitude. So let me tell you, a day spent with your mates, messing around on a mountainside and eating pizza for lunch, it really doesn't get much better. But all good things have to come to an end, and we got pulled over by the Swiss police. To be fair, they were very friendly, and after 15 minutes or so and a quick check of everyone's documents, they sent us on our way. Hey folks, we have arrived in Bobbio, which is a little town in Emilia-Romagna, north of Italy, where we spend a lot of time. It's a bit of a home from home for us. We left our McLaren and BMW driving friends today in just at the bottom of the Stelvio Pass, and they are heading north and heading home, and we've come deeper down into Italy to spend some time here and then to go and see some other friends at his vineyard just south of Milan. Cars had a great drive down here today, no problems. I just had to reduce the tyre pressures a little bit because my tyre pressure monitor was telling me my tyres were getting too hot as a result of driving fast, hot temperatures. I think they were up to from 33 psi as a resting heartbeat, for want of a better phrase. They were up near 50 at one point, so pulled over, dropped some air out, sorted the problem. So yeah, we're here for a while. As you can see, it's beautiful. I'll go and show you the view in a minute, and I'll get some footage from the roads around here, including a trip up the Passo Peniche, which is a mountain pass up that way. All right, see you soon. It's a bit windy. This is the view I was blathering on about. It is beautiful here. I'd always wanted to get a shot of the 430 in front of this old monastery, which I finally managed to do. What I hadn't banked on was, due to the one-way system, the extremely narrow streets we had to navigate to get out of the town. But all's well that ends well. We made it. thought you might like to see how we fit 3 weeks worth of luggage, plus some crockery that Mrs. E wanted to buy, and some wine, and some dried mushrooms, all into the 430. It's a tight fit, but it's okay. Look at me. So once we got the car packed and said goodbye to our friends in Bobbio, it was time to head for Casteggio and more friends, Roberto and Anna, and their beautiful vineyard wine resort, Prima Alture. The approach road is a bit of a challenge, but nothing we haven't done before. And it's worth it for the views as it winds up through the vineyards. Let's just talk briefly about how the 430 is deep into our European road trip. I think the first thing to mention is it's a car of different personalities, and those personalities come via the gift of the Manettino on the steering wheel. So motorway cruising, we've been doing plenty of that. I set the Manettino in sport, which firms up the suspension a little bit. This car generates 280 kilograms of downforce at 124 miles an hour. So when I'm cruising at anything between 85 and 95, I don't know exactly how much, but it's a fair amount of downforce via the little lip on the back and the massive diffuser. What I can tell you is you can feel it. It's like it's sucked to the road. It feels super stable, super relaxing. You end up with a very light grip on the steering wheel and just feels great. It'll cruise for days. It's got a big tank, 95 litre tank, so you're not filling up all the time, and we're averaging around 23 to 24 miles per gallon on those long kind of drives. So secondly, we have been doing country roads and, as you've seen, mountain passes. Those I tend to use again either sport or sometimes race, or sometimes, I don't really know what it's called. It's got a picture of a skiddy car. So I guess it's rain mode, but I think of it as comfort mode because the most noticeable thing it does, other than tightening up the traction control, is it really softens the suspension. It's a bit like bumpy road mode before the bumpy road mode button. And in any of those settings, it's pretty amazing. So if the road is rough, the bumpy road mode just smooths it out incredibly. Preferably though, sport or race for the mountain passes, firms up the suspension. The car feels absolutely reassuringly solid. I've never, in 11 years of ownership, I've never felt this car understeer once. Now, I've tipped it into some corners fast, sometimes because I wanted to, sometimes because I didn't realise quite how tight the corner was that I'm heading for. But I've never felt it understeer once. Now, some of you might say that I'm not trying hard enough. I can assure you I am. I think what we need to remember is Michael Schumacher was heavily involved in the development of the 430, and he knows a thing or two about driving cars and about how they should handle. With regards to the traction control, I'm aware it's doing things like saving my life, but pretty much only because I see the little light flash. But I never really feel it cut in. I never really feel it interrupt the power delivery, which is amazing considering the system's nearly 20 years old. Sure, it isn't side slip control 4 or whatever the latest version from Ferrari is now. It can't make me look like some kind of driving hero while I slide beautifully around tight mountain pass hairpins. But to be fair, I don't want that. I'm not made of money. I put 4 new tyres on this for this road trip, and I do not want to have to put 4 new tyres on when we get home because I've spent the entire jolly going sideways. Anyway, suffice to say, every time we do a trip like this, I fall for it a little bit more because it always manages to show me something new. It reminds me of how great it is in numerous different settings. It does whatever I ask it to without seeming to even try. The bond after a trip like this is always a little bit stronger, and I'm a little bit happier. I have made one upgrade for this trip, which I know I am going to get ridiculed for, and that's fine. But this car has no cup holder, and that can be a real pain. So look what I did. Only got myself a cup holder, and it's an absolute lifesaver. It's only stuck on, so removing it isn't a big deal. But I tell you what, it's brilliant. I love it. And last but not least, this item here is, for me, because I'm a big child, probably the most important upgrade. This piece of kit allows me to open and close my exhaust valves at will. So the way that it works from stock is you get to a certain rev range, about 3 to 3,500. The exhaust valves open. They open with, it's quite brutal. You just go from relatively quiet to full-on noise and back again, and it's not pleasant for people in the car or people outside the car. So with this system, I can have it quiet all the time, or more importantly, I can have it loud all the time. So you just get a build-up of revs and engine noise without this weird quiet to loud, loud to quiet, back again, which I don't want to upset anyone here in the hotel, but I will demonstrate for you now. Then it was time to head for Bologna to meet up with Simon at the Lamborghini factory, where the Murcielago had been invited back to celebrate 300,000 miles. All of this will be covered in a forthcoming episode of Drivers Keepers. But after a full day touring the factory and the museum and having some promotional photos taken, it was time to head back, and for us both to think about heading back to the UK. So here we are, we made it home. We left Italy, we drove up through Switzerland, and we stayed in Locarno for a night. Then we drove up into France and we had a night in Metz. From Metz we got to the Channel Tunnel, straight across, got back into the UK about 5. We had a night in Kent, and then we ploughed back up to Yorkshire. I'll be honest, car was faultless, notwithstanding the soggy footwell that we spoke about earlier, and somewhere in Germany we picked up a slow puncture, but it got home absolutely fine. So, stats: 2,673 miles, £978.50 in fuel cost, an average 21 mpg. So, I don't think it's that bad. Car's looking a little bit worse for wear at the minute. It only got, well, 1.5 washes while it was away. So it looks like it's done a rally stage, but I'm going to get stuck in now and give it a full clean up. I'll show you some of the marks that it's picked up during the trip, but nothing that we can't sort out, I'm sure. And before you know it, it'll be looking spick and span and ready for action again. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to comment. We read all your comments and we try to respond to all of them. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. Why not? It's not a real subscription, doesn't cost you anything. And we will see you very soon for a next episode. Thanks again. Thanks for watching.